Hello my friend, welcome to video.
Picture this. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man, the absolute worst time to be out.
Right, it really is. And you are standing on this dark, just completely desolate street corner.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely pouring rain. Like, not just a gentle passing drizzle, but that bone-chilling, heavy downpour.
Oh yeah, the kind that instantly soaks right through the fabric of your coat.
Yes, exactly. It sticks to your skin. The streetlights above you are just blurring through this sheet of water. The roads are slick. They're completely empty. And the temperature is just dropping so fast.
Which is such a dangerous situation to be in, honest.
It is. Every single instinct in your body is screaming at you to just, find shelter immediately.
Well, the physical reality of that environment is really crucial to understand here.
Right.
When the human body is subjected to freezing rain and this rapid drop in core temperature, you aren't just uncomfortable.
You're in danger.
Exactly.
Well.
You are experiencing acute physiological stress. I mean, the body begins prioritizing heat preservation, right?
Yeah.
So it's drawing blood away from the extremities and moving it toward the vital organs.
It's trying to keep you alive.
Exactly. Your brain is literally shifting into survival mode.
And right at that exact moment of peak physical vulnerability, a black sedan pulls up slowly.
Okay.
And it comes to a stop right in front of you.
Wow.
And through the rhythmic clicking of the windshield wipers, you see the driver lean over and unlock the passenger door.
That is it's such a vivid setup.
Right. And so, okay, let's unpack this. Because the mission of our deep dive today is to explore the reality of what happens next in that exact scenario.
I'm ready.
We are unpacking a true crime case from the late 1990s that honestly sounds like a campfire urban legend.
It really does sound like something out of a horror movie.
It does, but it is entirely rooted, in fact. It's known as the case of Taxi Known 66.
Right.
And for this, we are pulling directly from historical police records, the transcripts of survivor interviews, and the psychological evaluations of both the victims and the perpetrator.
It's a really comprehensive set of source material.
It is. We want to understand the exact mechanisms of how desperation can basically blind us to glaring red flags.
Yeah.
And how one woman's just profound situational awareness allowed her to escape a seemingly impossible trap.
Yeah, the source material here offers this really rare granular look into the psychology of predatory environments.
Right.
We're looking at an era before GPS-tracked rideshares,
Oh, right, where hailing an independent cab late at night was just a totally standard urban practice.
Exactly. You didn't have an app telling you who the driver was. But the most striking element of the police files isn't just the mechanics of the crime itself.
Okay, what is it?
It's the deeply manipulative environment the perpetrator meticulously constructed to facilitate it.
Yeah, let's get into that. So the driver of that black sedan was a man named Marcus.
Right.
And reading through his background in the case files during the daylight hours, he was completely unremarkable.
Just a totally normal guy.
Just a quiet, unassuming guy, and his profession was a tailor. Yeah.
He literally spent his days in a shop, hemming pants, taking measurements, adjusting the fit of suits. He was a regular fixture in the local community.
No red flags at all.
None.
Yeah.
But by night, he operated this black sedan as a phantom cab.
Wow.
And the trap he set was incredibly insidious because he didn't rely on force to get people into his car.
Right.
He relied on comfort.
Which is terrifying.
It is. He played this soft, soothing classical music on the radio. He kept the heater running high. And when a freezing person approached the car, he offered this polite, disarming, completely harmless smile.
What's fascinating here is that this represents a highly sophisticated predatory tactic.
Really, just being nice.
Well, yes. Because we are conditioned by media to imagine danger as, overtly threatening.
Bro, like a scary guy in an alley.
Exactly. Someone aggressive, menacing, or erratic. But the most effective psychological traps don't look like traps at all.
They look like safety.
They look like a rescue. By offering a warm, dry car paired with the auditory cue of classical music, right, which is so calming.
So calming. And the interpersonal cue of a calm demeanor, Marcus was aggressively countering the natural apprehension his victims might have had.
Wow. He was just disarming them completely.
Right. And if you think about his day job as a tailor, the psychology translates perfectly.
Wait, how so?
Well, a tailor's entire profession revolves around assessing a client, right?
Yeah.
Understanding how they want to be perceived and draping fabric to create a very specific illusion.
Oh, wow. So they're creating a facade.
Exactly. They meticulously craft a bespoke exterior to hide any underlying flaws.
That is so creepy when you apply it to this.
It is. Marcus weaponized that exact skill set. He tailored the internal environment of his vehicle to project an illusion of absolute safety.
Masking the inherent danger of getting into a stranger's car in the middle of the night.
Precisely.
Okay, but I want to focus on that illusion for a second, because going through the evidence logs, there is this massive visual contradiction to this idea of a perfectly crafted disguise. Yes, the door. The car wasn't just a standard unmarked black sedan. It had the number 66 crudely spray painted in bright red on the driver's side door.
Right.
And the police photos show it clearly. I mean, it's dripping, it's rough, and highly visible.
It's very prominent.
Yeah. Wait, how does anyone get into a car with crude red spray paint on it? It's like ignoring a giant neon danger sign just because the waiting room has nice elevator music.
It does seem crazy, doesn't it?
It seems totally counterintuitive.
Yeah.
I mean, why would someone ignore a glaring visual anomaly like that just because the car looks warm inside?
Well, under normal circumstances, your assessment is completely correct.
Okay.
A rational brain, sitting in a safe, warm environment, easily identifies that spray paint as an anomaly.
Right, something associated with vandalism or danger.
Exactly. But we have to factor in the specific environmental conditions we established at the beginning.
The rain and the cold?
Heavy rain, 2 in the morning, freezing temperatures. When your body is subjected to those conditions, your cognitive load essentially maxes out.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning the brain operates on very limited resources. Under severe thermal stress, the prefrontal cortex,
Which does what again?
that's the area of the brain responsible for complex risk assessment, logic, and critical thinking.
Okay, got it.
That area begins to power down. It hands control over to the amygdala, which handles basic, immediate survival responses.
Oh, wow. So the brain's priority queue essentially gets rewritten by the cold.
Precisely. The immediate, screaming biological need for warmth and shelter completely overrides the higher-level analytical processing required to evaluate the spray paint.
So they literally aren't processing the danger,
Right. The brain employs a heuristic.
like a mental shortcut.
Exactly. A mental shortcut. It rationalizes the visual anomaly. It tells the victim, hey, maybe it's a weird local cab company, or maybe it's just street graffiti.
Because acknowledging the spray paint as a threat means what? Rejecting the shelter.
Yes. It means rejecting the shelter and staying out in the freezing rain, which the body is screaming at you not to do.
That is wild.
And Marcus understood this vulnerability.
Yeah.
He knew the external red flags would be ignored as long as the internal environment promised immediate physiological relief.
Man, that makes the reality of the ride even more unsettling.
Yeah.
Because the victim gets in, right? They shake off the rain, they sink into the seat, feeling the warmth of the heater, listening to the classical music.
The relief must be overwhelming in that moment.
It really must be. But that relief has a very sharp expiration date.
Yes, it does.
Because according to the survivor testimonies, the turning point of the ride happens abruptly. Marcus navigates away from the main, brightly lit thoroughfares
Right.
and steers the car deep into the dark, labyrinthine alleys of the city, completely off the requested route.
And this represents the precise geographical and psychological threshold where the environment flips.
Flips how?
It goes from a rescue scenario to a captivity scenario.
My God.
The external darkness of the alleyway contrasts sharply with that initial feeling of safety, and that triggers the victim's delayed threat assessment systems.
Because suddenly the warmth and music don't match the terrifying dark alley outside.
Exactly, the illusion shatters.
And when those systems trigger, the victim naturally tries to exit the situation. The passenger reaches for the door handle to get out.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting, but also terrifying. This is where the structural reality of Taxi Naw 66 is revealed.
This part is chilling.
It really is. The inner passenger door handle hasn't just been locked.
No.
It hasn't been disabled with a standard child safety switch. The handle has been completely physically removed from the door panel.
It's just gone.
There is literally no way out from the inside. The mechanism is gone, leaving just an empty void in the plastic.
Yeah.
It's like feeling like a trapped animal in a cage where the lock has just been removed. Or like an architectural one-way valve.
Or a lobster trap.
Yes, a lobster trap. The design makes it incredibly easy, almost inviting to enter, but mechanically impossible to reverse out.
And the mechanical modification of that door is a really profound indicator of premeditation.
Because he had to actually build the trap.
Exactly. Disabling a handle to that extent requires specific effort.
You can't just flip a switch.
No, you have to use tools to pry off the interior door trim, unscrew the panel, and physically detach the actuator rod from the latch assembly.
That takes time.
It takes time and intent. This isn't a crime of opportunity or a spur-of-the-moment decision. It requires a deliberate, cold-blooded intention to strip victims of their physical agency before they even make the decision to enter the vehicle.
The psychological shift in that moment must be completely debilitating.
Unimaginable.
Going from the belief that you are safe from the storm to the sudden physical realization that you are trapped in a mobile vault.
Well, the timeline of that realization is critical.
What happens in the body?
The victim experiences a massive spike in cortisol and adrenaline. The contrast between the baseline of extreme relief, the warmth, the music, and the sudden reality of absolute terror causes profound psychological shock.
That's a complete overload of the nervous system.
Right. When human beings are suddenly and unexpectedly stripped of their autonomy, the default biological response is overwhelming panic.
Because you're trapped?
Because you're trapped. The brain frantically searches for a way to reestablish control over the environment.
Which brings us to the survivor of this case.
Yes.
A woman named Sarah. Because her actions in the source material completely defy that default biological response.
They really do. It's remarkable.
Let's look at the timeline of her specific experience. She gets in the car. The trap springs when Marcus turns down the dark alley. She reaches for the door and grasps empty air where the handle should be.
This is the critical juncture, the moment of discovery where the trap usually secures its hold.
Right. And looking at her interview transcripts, my initial hypothesis was that she must have just gone into profound shock.
Sure, that makes sense.
Like we always talk about freezing as a failure of the nervous system, like a deer caught in headlights, unable to move.
Right, the freeze response.
But analyzing her step-by-step actions, it seems less like she was paralyzed by fear and more like she weaponized the freeze response to camouflage her intentions.
That's a great way to put it.
Right, because if it were me, honestly, the second I saw that missing handle, I'd probably start screaming and banging on the glass.
Most people would.
How on earth did she have the restraint to just sit there and wait? She didn't scream, she didn't bang on the glass, she didn't alert Marcus that she knew the handle was missing.
Well, your hypothesis actually aligns with the neurobiological reality of highly resilient individuals under extreme duress.
Okay.
We frequently discuss the fight, flight, or freeze response, right? Which is governed by the autonomic nervous system when facing mortal danger.
Yeah, that's the standard triad we always hear about.
Exactly. However, in rare cases, we see the emergence of a fourth state.
Calculation.
Calculation. Wow. How does the brain transition from panic to calculation in a matter of seconds?
It requires an extraordinary ability to downregulate the amygdala's fear signals. So she'd essentially turned down the volume on her own panic.
Yes. By overriding the impulse to panic, Sarah's prefrontal cortex remained engaged.
So she could still think critically.
Precisely. If she had panicked, if she had screamed or physically attacked the door, Marcus would have immediately registered her awareness.
And he would have known she was trying to escape.
Right, and he would have likely escalated his timeline. He might have sped up the vehicle or attempted to incapacitate her right there in the moving car.
Oh, that makes sense. So by masking her terror and remaining perfectly still, she maintained the illusion of compliance.
Yes. She evaluated her environment, recognized that escaping a rapidly moving vehicle would likely be fatal, and calculated the precise tactical moment to initiate a breach.
Which is just a masterclass in survival.
True.
And that tactical moment arrived in the form of a red light at an intersection.
A brief pause in momentum.
Yeah, exactly. As the car decelerated and its momentum dropped, Sarah made her move. But with no handle, she had to bypass the door entirely. So she reached into her bag, pulled out a heavy, solid metal water bottle, and swung it with maximum force directly at the passenger side window.
Which is incredible.
She shattered the glass, cleared the window frame, and dove headfirst out of the car onto the wet pavement, immediately sprinting away into the night.
The physics of what she accomplished in that split second really warrants a deep dive in itself.
Really? Because of the window?
Yeah, because breaching a car window from the inside without specialized tools is exceptionally difficult.
Because it's not like regular glass, right?
Exactly. Side automotive windows are manufactured using tempered glass.
Okay.
During production, the glass is heated to extreme temperatures and then rapidly cooled.
What does that do?
This process creates immense compressive stress on the surface of the glass, while the interior remains under high tensile stress.
Meaning it is specifically engineered to withstand blunt force without breaking.
Yes.
Like if you hit it with a fist or an elbow, the force just distributes across the surface, right?
Right. Exactly. You can strike tempered glass with your bare hands until your bones break, and the glass will likely hold.
Wow.
It's designed to keep passengers inside during a crash. The heavy metal water bottle was the necessary variable here.
The unsung hero of the story.
Yes. It acted as an improvised window punch. By swinging a heavy, rigid metal object, Sarah concentrated a massive amount of kinetic energy onto a microscopic point of impact.
Oh, so instead of the force spreading out, it's all in one tiny spot.
All right, point loading. This point loading breached the outer compressive layer of the tempered glass.
And then what happens?
Once that compressive layer is compromised, the internal tensile stress violently releases.
Oh.
Yeah, causing the entire paint to instantly shatter into small granular cubes rather than jagged shards.
So it wasn't just raw strength, it was the mechanical application of focused force using an everyday object.
Exactly.
And she paired that with the perfect timing of the red light, minimizing the kinetic impact on her own body when she hit the pavement.
It was a flawlessly executed tactical operation by an individual with no formal training.
Just driven entirely by an optimized survival instinct.
Pure instinct and calculation.
And what's wild is her situational awareness didn't shut off once she hit the pavement.
No, it isn't.
She didn't just run away and try to forget the trauma. She immediately went to the authorities and provided the police with a highly detailed, methodical description of the threat.
Which is so rare after a traumatic event.
Right. She noted the make of the black sedan, the specific modification of a missing inner handle, and crucially, she reported the crude red 66 spray-painted on the driver's door.
And that level of detail provided law enforcement with the specific operational intelligence required to pivot from a passive investigation to an active manhunt.
Because they had a clear target now.
Right. The spray paint, which Marcus assumed would be ignored by desperate victims, became his identifying signature.
It was his undoing.
Yes.
And the police response was immediate. Within 48 hours of Sarah's escape, tactical units located the vehicle parked in a concrete municipal garage.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there. A SWAT team breached the perimeter and cornered Marcus, pulling the tailor out of his phantom cab and effectively ending his operation.
The physical apprehension of a predator often provides the first real opportunity to map the psychological architecture of their crimes.
Which is exactly what happened here.
Right. The behavior exhibited during police questioning can reveal the underlying motivations that really structured the trap in the first place.
And the interrogation transcripts from this case are just fascinating.
They're chilling.
They really are. The lead detective sits Marcus down in the interview room, lays out all the evidence, and asks him the central question regarding his methodology. He asks, why the number 66? Why spray paint a giant red identifier on the side of a vehicle used for abductions?
It's the big question.
Right. So what does this all mean? When I first read this part of the file, my immediate thought was that broadcasting a number like that meant he subconsciously wanted to be caught.
Like a compulsion.
Yeah, like it feels like a cry for help or compulsion. Because why would a killer broadcast his ultimate goal in bright red spray paint on the side of his getaway vehicle?
Right, isn't that just begging to get caught?
Exactly. But then you look at everything else about his operation, the careful removal of the door linkages, the tailored environment of the classical music. It was all so meticulous and controlled.
It was.
A methodical planner doesn't sabotage his own trap just to get caught.
No, and your initial hesitation is entirely correct. This wasn't an act of subconscious sabotage or a cry for help.
So what was it?
To understand the 66, we have to look at the psychology of gamification and violent crime.
Gamification.
Yes. Marcus's response to the detective clarifies his exact mindset.
Okay.
He didn't deny the spray paint. He maintained the exact same calm, polite demeanor he used to lure his victims, leaned back in his chair, smiled, and stated, 66 was my target for the year. You caught me at number 12.
Oh my God. He turned human abduction into a quota system.
Yes. The spray paint wasn't a warning to the public, nor did he view it as a liability. It was a personal scoreboard.
That makes my stomach turn.
It reveals a deeply psychopathic, highly goal-oriented pathology. He had commodified human life to such an extreme degree that he stripped his victims of their humanity entirely.
They weren't even people to him.
No. They were no longer individuals. They were simply metrics required to achieve a self-imposed performance goal by the end of the year.
The arrogance required to operate like that is staggering.
It's a hallmark of the pathology.
He believed his trap was so flawlessly designed, so inescapable, that he could literally advertise his kill quota on the side of the car and still outsmart the police and the elements.
Exactly. He felt intellectually superior and functionally invincible. But the most devastating aspect of that interrogation transcript isn't his arrogance.
No?
No, it is the numerical reality of his confession.
Right.
He was caught at number 12.
Meaning there were 11 people who encountered that black sedan before Sarah.
11 individuals who experienced the exact same physiological desperation in the freezing rain.
Yeah.
11 people who saw the polite smile, felt the warmth of the heater, heard the classical music, and got into the car.
It's heartbreaking to think about.
They experienced the exact same horrifying realization when they reached for a door handle that had been mechanically removed.
But they didn't have a way out.
Right. They did not have a heavy metal water bottle, or the tactical advantage of a red light, or the specific neurological ability to bypass panic and calculate an escape.
It grounds the entire case in a very stark reality.
It really is.
The number 12 stands as a testament to Sarah's incredible resilience and situational awareness, but it also serves as a heavy, permanent record of the 11 individuals who were consumed by the trap.
Exactly.
Looking at the entirety of this deep dive, the contrast between the two central figures is just profound.
It's day and night.
On one side, you have a man who weaponized the basic human need for warmth and shelter, utilizing his skills as a tailor to craft a bespoke environment of deception. And on the other, you have Sarah, who was pushed into a literal and psychological corner and managed to weaponize her own fear response to systematically dismantle his trap.
It is a stark demonstration of the dual extremes of human nature.
Yeah.
The capacity for meticulous, calculated malice set against the profound capacity for adaptation and survival under impossible odds.
It's incredible, and the practical takeaways from analyzing these sources are highly actionable for all of us.
Very much so.
Regardless of the weather conditions, regardless of how exhausted you are or how welcoming an environment appears, when you enter a vehicle, especially late at night, take the 2 seconds required to check the inner door handle before you pull that door fully shut.
Yes. Verify the mechanical integrity of your own exit route.
Reclaiming your situational awareness in environments where your defenses are naturally lowered is the most effective countermeasure against predatory environments.
Don't allow the illusion of comfort to override your critical assessment of the environment.
Exactly. But as we close the files on the case of Taxino 66 today, I want to leave you with one final thought to consider.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time analyzing the physics of Sarah's escape using a metal water bottle.
Right?
It was a completely mundane item, something she likely carried to work every single day without ever viewing it as a tactical tool or an emergency glass breaker.
Just a normal water bottle.
But on that specific night, under those specific physical constraints, that everyday object was the sole mechanical difference between survival and becoming victim number 12.
It's a crazy thought.
So look around you right now. Look at your bag, your pockets, your workspace. What ordinary, heavily utilized item are you carrying right now that you completely take for granted, but might, under the right circumstances, be the key to altering the outcome of a critical situation?
It requires a fundamental shift in how we perceive the utility of our immediate environment.
It does.
We must look beyond the manufactured purpose of the objects we carry.
Keep mulling over that question as you go about your day. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, maintain your situational awareness, and most importantly, stay safe.